We have an unlisted player joining us now, Hyundai. Tarun Garg, the Director of Sales, Marketing and Service at Hyundai, is with us to talk about this big surge that we've seen in SUV sales, of course, and also the overall demand trends in the festive season. Tarun, welcome to the show and thanks a lot for joining in. There is this massive burst that we've seen in sales, especially in the SUV segment, of which you're the second largest player overall. Can you tell us what is the trend in the festive season so far? Where have you seen a pickup? And overall, what kind of growth are you looking at?
Thank you very much. Yes, I was hearing Mangalam talk about the resilience of India, and I believe that auto industry in India is a prime example of this resilience, because globally, when we see inflation, interest rates, some kind of talk about big terms like stagflation and all, and we are seeing a pretty stable and strong demand in the auto sector. And if I talk about SUVs, yes, now contributing 41% to the overall market. Last year, when it touched 34, 35, 38, we thought it was a peak, but it continues to go up, which shows that the customer is continuing to move up the chain. And as far as Hyundai is concerned, of course, festival season is looking quite good. 53% of our sales is coming from SUVs. Onam as well as Ganesh has started on a very stable note, and now we enter, of course, the Navratras and Dussehra and Diwali. So things are looking up. Also, I think what is aiding is that two things. One is that the back order is very strong. Even we are sitting on a back order of close to 130,000. And the second is the semiconductor situation, which we all have been facing for the last 1 year, seems to be easing out. So, for example, if I talk about Hyundai, January to May, we were doing about 43, 44 in the domestic market, and now we are looking at 49. So, clearly a 10% uptick has happened. And so much so that now we are looking at probably calendar year 22 as the highest ever domestic sales by Hyundai Motor India in the history of Hyundai in India. So, I think things are looking pretty good out here.
Wow. So your highest ever domestic sales in CY22 is what you're predicting, Mr. Garg. So that's quite a huge achievement. But if you could just give us your volume growth on a percentage basis. You said that you've seen a very strong festive season during Ganpati, Onam. Can you give us a sense in terms of how growth has been year on year? And if you had to compare it to, say, pre-COVID levels, what is the volume trajectory that you're seeing?
Yeah, so look, this is interesting. First, I'll cover the pre-COVID level. If you see the industry, 2018, the industry saw its highest ever, and even Hyundai Motor India, we did a sale of 550,000 in 2018. As we all know, 2019 was a very challenging year, and things started to kind of almost fall apart, and we saw a big dip in volumes across the industry. And then 20 and 21, COVID years, all the issues, supply chain issues. Now 22, we are looking at, like I said, highest ever, beating that 2018. So that is the first point. Vis-a-vis last year, if we see Hyundai, we achieved a sale of about 505,000, and now we are looking at 550,000 plus. So very clearly, we are looking at 9 to 10% a positive uptick in the sales numbers, and this is, of course, considering that we had a shortage for the most part of the year in terms of semiconductors. So this is first part of it. The second part of it is festival season. It is still ongoing because we will see the Onam results in the next couple of days, and Ganesh also, 9th is the Visarjan day, the last Visarjan day. So we still have some time to go for it, but we can see a good traction. Dealers are asking for more vehicles, which is always a very good sign. And we are seeing a good booking trend as well as we build towards the post Shraddh, which will start from 26th in terms of Navratra starting. So things as of now are looking good. And because why this is more special is because last couple of months, frankly speaking, because of this geopolitical risk and because of inflation and interest rates going up and 80% of the cars being financed here in India, we were thinking and we were kind of apprehensive that how is going to affect the car demand.
Sure.
But so far, so good is what I can say.
Got that. So I just want to understand, what is the market share currently that you're sitting at? You were at about 16% at the end of FY22. Where is it now?
The market share is around, if I talk about retail, close to about 15 and a half. But mind you, market share so far has been a reflection of the ability to supply more than the demand, because all of us, we were struggling with that. I think going forward, and especially in calendar year 23, as we go along, probably market share will reflect the true demand. And I think that is where we can really look at things in a much more objective way.
Right. Mr. Garg, we were looking at the industry as a whole, with Hyundai being one of the key players there, and like you said, would be one of the biggest in the SUV space itself. Can you give us a sense of how much as a proportion of overall vehicle sales was SUV, say, 3-4 years ago, and what is it now? What rate is it growing at? And, what does the future look like?
So this is interesting. If I talk about, say, 2015, SUVs used to contribute 13.5 to the overall industry. And today already they are contributing 41%. So just see, in 6-7 years, 13.5 has become 41. That is first point. Second is hatches used to contribute 50%, and hatches are now 34-35%. So SUVs has emerged as the biggest segment. So very clearly a huge growth in SUVs is happening, which is a reflection of, one, that Indian customer is evolving. He is not ready to compromise on the quality of cars. He wants more space. He wants more features. Of course, the second thing is that the kind of models which are being launched. Today, more than 80% of the models which are being launched are in the SUV space. If you look at Hyundai, we launched the Tucson, last month. We already are sitting on a back order of 5,000. Mind you, we used to do about 1,000 Tucsons, the earlier Tucson, 1,000, 1,200 a year. And now we are looking at 5,000 Tucson. So just see how things have really moved as far as Hyundai is concerned, and in fact, as far as India is concerned. So more and more, we can see that the percentage of vehicles, say more than 15 lakh rupees, which used to be 1-2% of our portfolio, is now more than 15-16%. So everywhere the chain is going up, and customer aspirations are going up. And also customer is traveling much more. He's spending more time in the car, which means he's looking for connectivity. He's looking for more features. He's looking for ventilated seats. He's looking for safety. All those things are really coming into the forte, rather than only just a car, as a means of going from point A to point B.
Sure. Just one final question then, Mr. Garg. In the electric vehicle segment, you have lagged some of your peers. One complaint is because the Kona is much more expensive compared to peers. Just trying to understand from you, any more launches in the EV space from the Hyundai stable, an affordable EV perhaps?
I think this is a very important point, and you have to understand the strategy. So if you see in the IC space, we started with Santro and then we moved up. In the EV is a different ballgame altogether. As you know, in 2019, we launched the Kona, and that time people were only talking about EVs, and we had a product which was SUV, range of 450 kilometers, etc., etc. So we are now working on the ecosystem. We now know much more about the customers. So supply chain has to be worked on. We talked about mass EV, which means that the costs have to come down. You would have known that we have already announced that we're going to have 6 BEVs by 2028, and which will be across segments, body types, etc. We have already announced the launch of Ioniq 5, which is the World Car of the Year and the World Design of the Year. So very soon you'll hear from Hyundai about the launch of Ioniq 5. I think going ahead, we are very much committed to launch of more battery electric vehicles, and the charging infrastructure, we are working very strongly. We have had a partnership with Tata Power on that. So I think we're looking at the entire ecosystem rather than only the product. And you will be hearing from Hyundai in this space, very, very frequently.